It's a classic workplace puzzle. A company is filled with smart, talented people, yet it's often bogged down with rules. The common assumption is that these rules exist because of a lack of trust. The reality is that rules are a tool to manage complexity, which becomes essential for any organization to function and grow.
So let's start by looking at this core frustration. It's something we can call the smart person paradox. You hear this sentiment a lot in many organizations. It often reflects a feeling that rules are an insult to the intelligence and integrity of perfectly capable employees. This perspective is built on the idea that good judgment and talent should really be enough to guide an organization. The thinking goes, if you just hire the right people, they'll naturally do the right thing.
But when you look at it from a system level, rules aren't about any single person's intelligence. They act as a safeguard for the organization as a whole, creating a predictable framework that doesn't have to rely on every single person having the exact same understanding in every situation.
To really understand their function, it's helpful to first clarify what we mean by rules in a business context. They usually fall into two main categories: policies and procedures.
A policy is basically the what and the why. It's the bridge between a company's big picture vision and its day-to-day operations, and it guides decision-making on all the important stuff.
So, if a policy is the what, then a procedure is the how. It's the step-by-step instruction manual, the roadmap that makes sure policies are followed consistently and correctly by everyone.
So why do organizations often end up with so many rules? Well, they don't just appear out of nowhere. They tend to emerge as a pretty natural and often necessary response to the pressures of growth. There are four primary drivers that explain why organizations tend to develop more rules as they get bigger.
Think about it. What works with a small team in one room just becomes chaotic when you have hundreds of employees across different departments, maybe even different countries. Formal rules are brought in to manage all that increasing complexity.
This consistency is what helps build a stable brand. Whether it's the quality of a product or a customer service interaction, rules help make sure that customers get a uniform and reliable result every single time.
Policies also create a system where everyone is held to the same, clearly defined standards. This promotes impartiality, it helps resolve disputes, and it can protect employees from supervisors who might exercise their own discretion unfairly. And finally, organizations operate within a whole web of laws and regulations. Well-defined policies are absolutely crucial for ensuring compliance and protecting the business from costly fines, lawsuits, and other legal issues. But of course, all these benefits don't come for free. The very nature of a rule is to constrain behavior, and this creates some inevitable trade-offs and side effects.
This right here illustrates the fundamental tension. The very systems designed to protect and stabilize a company can also make it more rigid and slow. You see, promoting fairness can reduce flexibility. Creating consistency can sometimes hinder innovation. There's always a price to pay for structure.
And these are the side effects where employees often feel the most frustration. It's what we usually call red tape. Because rules codify past successes, they aren't always great at adapting to the future. They can limit individual autonomy and sometimes even lock in inefficiencies over time. So all of this brings us to the central challenge that every single growing organization has to navigate.
The number of rules a company has isn't necessarily a sign of a good or a bad workplace. Instead, it's really the result of a constant negotiation between two powerful and opposing organizational needs.
This is the essential balancing act we're talking about. On one hand, you have standardization, the need for uniform systems that are predictable and fair for everyone. And on the other hand, you have discretion, the need to empower individuals to use their own judgment and adapt to unique situations.
So the key takeaway here is that having rules in a company filled with smart people is not a contradiction. It is the visible result of an organization choosing standardization to manage the complexities of scale. Understanding this trade-off reframes the conversation from whether rules are good or bad to whether the organization has struck the right balance for what it's trying to achieve.